Hey there everyone, this is Avilash here from Selenium Express, and from this video onwards, we're going to be talking about some of the foundational and very important concept. And if you're a coder, this is something that you got to learn. This is compulsory, this is mandatory. You either learn it from me or from someone else. You got to understand this concept, okay? And the concept that I'm talking about here is called solid. S-O-L-I-D. So solid is a principle, just the way you are learning data structure, algorithm, design patterns. Just like that, we have design principles. And if you are a coder working with any kind of languages which supports object-oriented programming, then this is a concept. Solid is a concept that you got to learn. And solid is a combination of many different concepts. So we are going to talk about a concept called single responsibility principle, which is the S of solid. So let's understand what this concept is, and let me tell you that these are the questions, like all the concepts of solid and the single responsibility principle is something which has been asked many a times in interviews. So if you are a senior developer, doesn't matter if you're a senior developer, and of course if you're a junior developer, or if you're someone who started to preparing for interviews, or if you are just a fresher and going into the Java interviews, then this video is going to help you. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure a couple of things. So in this series of videos, we'll be learning solid design principles, and we will make sure these videos are going to be beginner friendly, and also at the same time the experienced, like the people who are having experience can follow this out. So what I'm gonna do in this video, I'm gonna code an application. Okay, so basically this principles is going to help us to become a better coder. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I will not only going to explain you the concepts, I'll also code something. So I'm going to be coding out an application today. So this is all about coding out an application, which is a basic application that we'll be creating. I'll be telling about what application we'll be creating. So if you're a beginner, you just follow me step by step and create this application by yourself. And if you are an experienced developer and you wanted to follow this series with me and want to learn about all the design principles that we have in Solid, then one thing that you can do, you can just skip to the next video, and there only you just see the code once, because I think if you are having coding experience, watching a UML diagram and watching the written code is going to make more sense for you, and it'll just less time consuming. But if you want to go step by step with me, writing and coding an application, if you have time for me, then you're welcome, because we are going to go for an amazing journey of creating an application, understanding what are the problems that we are having in that application, then making it better and better and better by following all these principles. So let's get started, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this series, just give me a thumbs up, and also let me know any suggestion if you have in the comment section, and please do subscribe. Let's go for the video. All right, so we're going to be learning the S of solid today, and it's basically the single responsibility principle. So let's just explore, what do you mean by single responsibility principle, and how can we implement it in our code? But if you are here for a theoretical definition of single responsibility principle, and if you want to follow the single responsibility design principle in your code and you're looking for a definition, let me tell you that. The definition for single responsibility principle is every software component should have one single region to change. I don't know if that made sense. Let me tell you another definition. Every software component should have one single responsibility. Every software component should have one responsibility. Doesn't make sense, right? So let's try to understand all these things with the help of application. I want you guys to feel it. I want you guys to realize like different aspects that has been proven already, and people who have done research on coding and how the software should be written, they want us to follow this kind of principle. And let's learn this principle, single responsibility principle, with the help of an example. So right now, I want you guys to create an application. Like we all will be coding together right now and start creating an application. And this application is going to be a reminder application. This application is like a note-taking application. For example, I can set reminder, right? Today, 10:30 p.m. I want to go for 4 hours coding. Your Google also have that kind of a feature. Can you please set a reminder for me for tomorrow, 4 o'clock?
Okay, tomorrow at 4 p.m. What's the reminder?
Go to play cricket.
Got it. I'll remind you tomorrow at 4 p.m.
For an example, we just have set a reminder. We can set another reminder right now.
What's the reminder?
Remind me tomorrow at 10:50.
Alright, tomorrow at 10:50 a.m. What's the reminder?
Talk to the client.
Okay, I'll remind you tomorrow at 10:50 a.m.
So I just have set a couple of reminders, right? Tell me what are the reminders that I have set.
You have 2 reminders. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., go to play cricket. Tomorrow at 10:50 a.m., talk to the client.
I want you guys to do the exact same thing for me. I want you guys to create an application which is going to help you to track few things. And here, let's say this is a fully functional and a developed application. But what I want you guys to do, I'll show you. Let's say I spoke to the client on behalf of you, and your client has given me this thing to develop. Or you just told me, okay, Vilas, I have a client who want to create an application. Please talk to that particular client and have the requirement. And the client that I spoke to, let's say he has given a requirement like this. He said, okay, Vilas, here I have a screenshot. Okay, so this is the application I want you to build. So for an example, you can see there are some reminder objects that I have on the screen. And let's talk about the first objects that I have over here, right? And let's say this is the first reminder. Every reminder has an ID, let's say 101. And this is the note or the actual reminder that I have, code for 2 hours. And then the time that I have to do this thing is actually at 10 o'clock, right? Let's say this is one reminder. Like that, I have a lot of reminder, sleep for 3 hours and play cricket, go for an outing, and all this times has been logged when I will be performing those tasks. So this is something that this is the way I can store the reminder in a system. And also once I set all the reminders, I can log it in a file. For an example, I have a file here called Friday. For Friday, I have given all these reminders, and all the reminders that I was showing you in the screenshot has been logged here and has been saved here. So I can just go to this folder and I can just look for that particular file, and I can just open that file and I can see all the reminder which has been set for me for Friday. Okay, so let's start writing the application together right now. I think the requirement is clear. We just have to create an application where we can add different kind of reminders, and also we can save those reminders to a file system in our computer. We should have a folder, we can create files, and we can store it. All right, so let's just start coding this application. So here comes the fun part, right? We're going to be coding. But right now, let's just code like a noob. Let's just code like an inexperienced guy. Let's just code the functionality, but without following the single responsibility principle, because I haven't told you guys what is this single responsibility principle yet. But now my goal is to code this application. This application is going to be a note-taking application or a reminder application, and where we can add reminders, remove reminders, and once we are done adding all our reminders, we can save it to the file system. This is something that we're going to be doing. All right, so I'm on my Eclipse right now, as you can see, and I have this particular project called SRP, stands for Single Responsibility Principle. This is something that we're going to be learning today. So inside this particular project, I have a folder called SRC, and now let me just create a new class inside it. And what is the application that we're going to be creating right now? It's a reminder application. So I want to put it inside a package called com.selenium express. And maybe I'll just do a reminder app. This is going to be the package name. And the class that I want to create is going to be called a reminder. Okay, so let's start building our application right now. But before we make it, before we jump into the coding directly straight away, let's just try to design. Let's just try to capture all our ideas, like what we're going to be doing, how I'll be developing this particular thing. So before we just choose the language as Java, because I'm going to be coding in Java, let's try to make it easier for all the viewers who are watching this particular lesson. Because we as a Java developers choosing the Java as the programming language, right? But you might not be a fan of Java. You should be comfortable with C# or Python or maybe some other language you want to code this out. Absolutely, try that. So let's try to bring the concept, like what we're going to be coding, how we're going to be coding this application. We have gathered all the, all the requirements from our client. So this is the screenshot our client has given to us, and this is the format that he wanted me to represent the reminder objects that need to be stored inside the file system. So what I can see from this screenshot that I have received from my client is all the reminders should have a reminder ID, it should have a note, it should have a time. These are the three important things that they are focusing. First of all, I want to start making the design, and for that I want to draw a little bit of a diagram, a UML diagram. You don't have to do it. You just have to code. That's it. But I want to simplify it for you so that you understand what we're going to be coding. So right now I'm going to be creating a UML diagram. So what is a UML? Okay, to make it simple, it's going to be the language for all the developers, irrespective of the programming language that you are choosing. If this is the thing that you're going to be looking at, you should be understanding, okay, this is the code that I should be writing. So before you start jumping into the code, we should be designing like what we are actually going to code. And for that today, I'm using, I'll be creating an UML. I am creating this UML by using a tool called Star UML. It's a free one. If you are interested to create UML diagrams for yourself, you can use it for free. So right now, I want to create an application, and this is going to be a reminder app. So I want to create a class right now. My class name is going to be reminder. Okay. So the reminder is going to be my class name. Okay. So this is my class name. And right now the screenshot that I got from my client has three things, three fields I can see: ID, node, and time. So let's just create three variables for my class right now. I'll create three attributes. The first attribute is going to be reminder ID, and this is going to be an integer type or an int type. You can take it. And obviously this variable that I'll be creating called reminder ID, and this is going to be int type. Obviously all the variable inside a class should be kept private. That's the basic rule that you are understanding from a concept called encapsulation, and this is the object-oriented principle. I don't want to go that much in depth of it. You know that all the variables should be kept private. And to mention it and to note it down in a UML diagram, I will choose as minus. And if you can see right now, you can understand, okay, I need to create a class called reminder, and there I will be having a field called reminder ID, which is going to be an integer type, and the variable is private because there is a minus sign is here. If there is a plus sign here, if you ever see a UML diagram where there is a plus sign, then obviously this is going to be a public variable. So right now the variable should be kept as private, so I'll be writing minus here. So the next variable that I'll have inside this class, the next attribute that I'll be creating is going to be the note, the reminder, the actual reminder that you want to set, the note. I'm going to be telling it note, and this note is obviously going to be a string type, and obviously this is going to be a private variable. So you can see from the screenshot, we have a field called note, and it is holding code for 2 hours as a string. So this is a string that we need to store inside the variable note, and this is what that I have done. The third thing is going to be time. So I am going to create another attribute, and this attribute is going to be called time, and this is the time for my reminder. And obviously the type, the variable that I'm creating, the data type of this can be date time. But I can just take one of the latest feature of Java. I can just take local date time. I can use this variable, right? I can use this class. You can just take simply date. The way you wanted to store your time, right? I want to use this class from Java, so this is going to be the data type, and obviously this is going to be a private variable. That's it. So we are good, right? So the next thing, So we have a class called reminder. We will be creating 3 variables there called reminder ID, note, and time. Cool. Then what are you going to be doing in that reminder application? What is the main purpose here? Whenever you see this diagram, what you are doing? Well, you're creating reminders, and you are creating reminders means there is an application. You are creating reminders. That means you need to create a function. You need to create a method. By using that method, you can add reminders to your application, right? So maybe we'll start creating a method here right now. We can start creating an operation, and this is going to be a method that we're going to be having, and this is going to be, let's say, add reminder. Okay, add reminder, we can create a method like this, which is going to help us to create a reminder or to add a reminder. So add reminder method, using this add reminder method, what we can add, the method name says it, right? Method name is what? Add reminder. So what are you going to be adding? A reminder. So I'll be adding a reminder. Maybe reminder is my class name, right? So I can say reminder. I can write like this. So looking into this method name, you understand, right? You want to add a reminder, and you'll be taking an object called reminder, and reminder is an object, and that object belongs to this reminder class. So this is something that we're going to be adding to our application. Well, whenever we're writing any UML UML diagram we're creating, just do the reverse. Like you are writing reminder, which is going to be your type, and then the variable name, which is going to be reminder. So I'll just do it in UML way. I'll take this reminder after this variable name. I'll just give a colon here. That means reminder is going to be my variable, and this variable is going to be a type of reminder. Okay, so this is the method that I'm going to be having in my application to add a reminder, right? To add a reminder to my application. So let's try to replicate the same thing that we have done here in the UML in our favorite programming language. Let's try to create a class called reminder. Let's have 3 variables called reminder ID, note, and time, and let's create a method called add reminder. I think we guys are understanding it, right? Very simple, very straightforward. So let's go ahead and let's try to do what? Let's try to create this application. Easy peasy, right? Start developing it. So the next thing that we're going to be doing, we will be going back to Eclipse, and right now we have a class here called reminder. I have my Eclipse as an ID. You can use IntelliJ, you can use Visual Studio, whatever you want to use, but yeah, let's go with this. Cool. So 3 variables I want to have. Perfect. So first variable is going to be private int reminder ID. Second variable private string note. Third variable private string, and okay, it's not going to be a string. The third variable is going to be the date, okay, the time, and it's going to be a type of local date time. So let me have my third variable called local date time. This is going to be my data type, and basically I want to have time as my variable. I'll close all this declaration. I don't need all these things. All right, and I'll just minimize the boot dashboard because I'm using STS, I believe. That's why I have that by default, so don't worry about it. So well, I have my class right now. So the next thing that I'll be doing, maybe the best thing I can do, I can create getter and setter for all these methods. So I can just do source create getter and setter. Can I do create getter and setter? I'll just create the getter and setter to access all those variables. So let me have those methods here. The next thing that I want to do, let me just bring all these getters and setters right to the down, so that the code looks very simple. And this getter method I'll be using in order to access all these variables that I have created, okay, because these are private variables. Cool. And the next thing that I want to do here, I want to create a method. If you're going to see my reminder class UML diagram, I have an operation the way I will create reminders. Okay, for an example, right now, if I want to create a reminder, okay, if I want to create a reminder, for an example, I will create a new class, and let's say this class is app. Okay, and in this app class, let's say there is a main method like this, main. All right, and here I want to create a reminder object, so I can just do reminder. The reminder is equal to new reminder, and now I want to set ID, name, and the time. So I can say reminder dot set ID. Let's say set reminder ID, and I can give an ID like 101, and then I can just do reminder dot set set note, and I can just tell my reminder note like, okay, play cricket. Okay, and when do you want to play cricket? Okay, reminder dot set date time or set time, and you want to play cricket, let's say local date time. There is a class in Java.time package, and there is a method called off. Okay, and I want to play cricket. I want to choose a method here. Let me just choose this method. I want to play cricket 2022, month of January. Date of month is going to be let's say today is 15th. Let's say I want to play 16th, and the hour is going to be let's say 10 o'clock in the morning. So let's say 10:15 in the morning I want to play cricket. Okay, so this is a reminder I have created. Okay, this is one way to create reminder. The best thing I can do, I can create a constructor for this, because instead of like whenever I'm creating a reminder object, that time only I can initialize all these reminder variables. So better thing I can do, I can go over here and I can create a constructor. So I can just go to source, and I can go to constructor using fields, and let me create a constructor over here. Okay, write this. Let me just bring it up. Like I'll hit my option, and I will just drag it up a little bit, and I'll put it over here. Okay, so this is a constructor that I have to initialize my reminders. And also I'll create another default constructor in case somebody want to create a reminder without initializing the thing. So I'll just do a control space and create a reminder constructor, but without having any variable inside it. Okay, so perfect. So I have a couple of constructors. So right now what I can do, I can go to the app. Instead of doing the things like this, I can just create a reminder like this. Reminder is equal to new reminder, and I can use the constructor that I have created right now. Cool. So I have a reminder created over here, and the reminder is to play cricket, and the time that I want to play cricket is 16th of January 2023 and 10:15 a.m. right? Like that. I want to create another reminder object, Control C, and I can do a Control V over here, and I want to create another object. Reminder number 1 and reminder number 2 is, let's say, code for 3 hours. Okay, and the time that I want to give is like at 1 o'clock. I want to come back and I want to code for let's say 1 o'clock. I want to code for 3 hours, and that's the couple of reminder object that I have created. So now I have 2 reminder object created. Now the thing is that how I will be adding this reminder, how I will be storing this reminder object that I have created. So what is going to be the data structure that I'll be using to store this reminder object in my application? So the underlying data structure that I'll be using for my application to store this reminder objects is going to be list. Okay, let's store everything inside a list. So what I'm going to be doing, I will be creating a list over here. So I'll go over here and I'll say private and list of reminders that I want to store here, and I'll just import it. I'll just do Control-Shift-O and import the list. It's going to be java.util, and it's going to be a reminder list, and this list is going to be a array list. So new array list, and I want to store all my reminders inside this reminder list. Okay, so to store all the reminders that I have created here, I want these reminders to be stored inside a list called reminder list, and this is going to be the underlying list that I have inside my application, which is going to store all my reminders. So how I'm going to be doing that? So for now, what I'll be doing, I will be creating a utility method that I have written over here called add reminders, which is going to take a reminder object and which is going to store it inside that particular list, right? So I'll be going over here and I'll create that utility method, and my utility method name is going to be add reminders, and it's going to take a reminder object. So let's go over here and I'll say public void and add reminder, and here this is going to take a reminder object. So reminder, and then I will make sure whenever I will accept a reminder object, I will add it to this particular list. So I'll say list.add, and I want to add this reminder, which is going to be accepting using this particular method. So this is my data structure that I'll be using internally, and the way I'll be adding the data to this data structure, right? So I am storing all my reminders using a reminder list, and I'll be using this add reminder function to store the reminders inside that particular list. Okay, so let's just go to my add.java, and I'll be start adding the reminders. So I'll say I'll create another reminder object, maybe using the default constructor that I have. I'll say reminder is equal to new reminder, and right now I can just use this reminder object. Let's say reminder dot add reminder. Maybe I'll say play cricket. I'll just change this variable name a little bit for your understanding, and let's say code for hours. Okay, now let me just add this reminder references here, and I will just copy this and I'll just paste it again, and I'll say add reminder, and I'll add this reminder that I have created for my application. So I have added these two things, but why I'm having an error here? Can I just do Control S and create a method called add reminder? Can I just see what this add reminder is taking? It's taking a reminder, but this particular class is not saved. So I'll save this class, and this error is gone right now. So I am successfully done adding the reminders to my list that I have created over here called reminder list. Perfect. So we have just done creating a add reminder method, which is going to be helping us to add reminders into our application. So it's cool. Like, we're almost done with the UML diagram that we have built. So this add reminder function, you can see, which is going to take a reminder object and going to help us to add a reminder. This is something that we have already done. This is a public method, and if you're going to see this structure, it's going to be public method, add reminder, takes a reminder object, and it's going to do something. So I think this method looks good, and it exactly matches with this UML diagram that we have created. You may argue, okay, Avilas, what is the return type of this method? Why you are not mentioning that this add reminder method is going to return void? If you want to mention it, you can just give another colon here and can write void. But even though you don't write anything right over here, still if somebody will see this method, he can see, okay, there is no colon after this brace, after this parenthesis, there is no colon, and there is no return type has been mentioned. That means it is going to return void. So we are done doing all these things. Well, one couple more questions right here. Why didn't I mention all these methods that I have inside this particular class called reminder? Because inside this reminder, I not only have all these variables, I also have a utility method, and also I have all these getter and setters for these particular variables. But I haven't mentioned all these getters and setters right here inside my reminder class. For an example, you can add an operation for a reminder ID. You should have get reminder ID, set reminder ID. For note, you should have get note, set note. For time, you should have get time, set time. If you want to write functions for all the getters and setters right over here, you can write it. But in UML, you usually don't see your getters and setters will be over here inside this reminder class UML, because this is not necessary. If there are some private fields has been mentioned inside a class by marking the negative, and these are the variables, then absolutely you'll have getters and setters for this if you want to expose these variables to the outer class. So we don't need to specially write all these things. But one thing I can say, we have introduced a new variable here called reminder list, which is basically the underlying data structure for our application, which stores all our reminder objects, right? So you can see in the application we have started adding all this couple of reminders that we have created over here called play cricket and code for hours. Right over here, all these couple of objects we have added by using the add reminder methods, and this thing is internally it is using a add method and is storing it inside this reminder list. So let's just define this reminder list, which is of list of reminder type, in our UML diagram as well. So I'll create another, maybe I'll just click on over here, do a add, I'll create another attribute, and this is going to be a reminder list. Okay, and this is going to be a type of list of reminders. Okay, so this is it, and I will say do a minus. Okay, perfect. So I think my class is looking good right now. So right now, how can I be confirmed that I have added all my reminders that I have in my application, in my app.java? I have added a couple of reminders called play cricket and code for hours, which are this couple of objects. How can I be sure that this objects has been added to the data structure or to my list that I have inside? How can I make sure? And for that, I have to write a method which is going to help me to print all the contents of that particular list right here to my console. So for that, I'll go to my UML diagram first, and right here what I want to do, inside my reminder class, I want to create a new operation, and this is going to be called as print reminders. Okay, this is a method that I want to create, and I will say this print reminder method is going to take a list, or maybe we already have this list over here inside this reminder class. So we already have a list called reminder list. We can directly access it, and it is not going to return anything. So you can write here void, because print reminders is not going to return anything. So I'm just leaving it right there, and I don't need to take anything in the parameters, so let it go. So yeah, print reminders is a method that I want to, let's say print reminder or reminders. Let's go with print reminders, no problem. So let's just create this particular method inside our reminder class. Okay, so let's just go over here and start creating a new method here inside our reminder class. Let's create a new method, and this is going to be public void, and the method name is print reminders. Okay, and perfect. And right here I can just iterate through this list, reminder list. You can just do a for each loop and you can start iterating over it, but I can just do I can just use a little bit of Java new feature, a Java Lambda here. I can just write reminder list dot for each loop, and I will be iterating over all the reminder, and I will be printing it right over here. So reminder sys out, and a reminder over here. I want to print all the reminders. Okay, that's it. Or you can just use a normal for each loop, iterate through the list that we have called reminder list, this list where you are adding all the reminders. Just iterate through this and just print it over here. Okay, so that's it. We have a print reminders method. Let's just try to use this method right now in our app.java class. So I can just go over here and I can say just reminder dot print reminders, and let's see that if we can print all the reminders that we have added to our application, if we can print it inside the console. So if I do run as Java application, well, we are able to print couple of reminders. We're able to log them into our console, but we are not actually see it, because if you remember from our client, we got the screenshot. Okay, he is also giving us all the reminder objects which has been printed to the console is a console screenshot. But why we are not getting the reminders like that? Maybe something, a toString method we have to override. Okay, because I don't want to print the content or the reference of this object. Rather, I don't want to print the reference or the object reference. I want to print what is that content. What is this play cricket? This play cricket is an object. I want to print the content of this object. I want to print all these values. And if I want to do that, I will go to this play cricket and display cricket is a reminder class object. Let's go to that class and let's just create a toString method right here. I'll go to all the way to down. I'll just click on source and I'll create a new string, toString method. I'll click on generate, and there you go. I have a toString method overridden. I'll go over here, do a right click, run as Java application. Perfect. So right now I can see my reminders has been printed over here. 101 play cricket is the note, and I want to do it at 10:15, and 102 is the reminder ID, the next reminder. Code for 3 hours is the actual reminders, and the time that I have logged here is 1 o'clock. Why this reminder list is getting printed? I don't want to print the reminder list over here. So what I want to do, I'll go to the reminder.java, and this reminder list part, I will, the time I want to log here, and after that, everything from here till this reminder list, till here, till here, I'll just delete it. Okay, Control S, and now let me just run my app.java, run as Java application, and yeah, this is something that I wanted, and now all my reminders, I'm able to log it in my console. So things are looking good, right? So the next thing that I want to do, maybe I can create few more reminders. I can create one more reminder, for example. Maybe I'll just do Control V, and maybe the third reminder is like, do workout, and which is really needed for me right now. So we'll do workout, and let's say I'll just say 103 is my reminder ID, and I'll say workout for 2 hours. Okay, and I want to do it at 2023 16th of January, and I want to do it at 4 p.m. or maybe I can say 1600, which is basically 4 p.m. Let's say Control S, and let me just add this reminder again. So I'll be using my utility method that I have created called reminder, and I'll just pass this reminder object that I have created, and obviously the print reminders method is going to print everything. So run as Java application, and all the reminders are over here, and I think the things has been printed over here. So what about, I have inserted a reminder mistakenly and I want to delete it. Maybe I want to create a remove method for the same. So how to do that? For an example, the next thing that I'm going to do, I'll go to my UML diagram. Another, basically the operation that I want to create, or a method that I want to create for my application, is going to be a remove reminder method. So I'll create a method called remove reminder. Okay, so remove reminder method is going to help me to remove a reminder. So if I want to remove a reminder, first of all, this method that I'm creating called remove reminder, to this method I want to give that reminder that I want to remove. Okay, let's say there are 3 reminders over here or 4 reminders over here. I want to remove this reminder. So I can say, okay, application, can you please remove the 3rd reminder for me? Or can you please remove the 4th reminder for me? Or can you please remove the 1st reminder for me? So if I want to do that, so let's say remove reminder, and I'll just say I'll just take a integer, and I will ask like, okay, just tell me the number, like the reminder number, like reminder position, what I mean by that. So can you please tell me the reminder position that you want to delete? Okay, maybe the 1st reminder, 2nd reminder, 3rd reminder, 4th reminder, which reminder that you want to delete. So I want to create this method called remove reminder, which is a public method, and which is going to be taking an argument of integer type reminder number. So let's just go ahead and do this and create this method as well. Inside my reminder.java class, I'll go inside it, and right now, right here, I'll create another method. So I'll say public void, and I'll say remove reminder, and method first letter will be small. So let me just change that. This R is going to be small r, and this is going to take int the reminder position or the reminder number. Let's say reminder number, which number that you want to delete. And I want to do that. Let's say somebody is going to use this method. Let's say copy this method, go over there. Let's say somebody want to remove use this method, and let's say I'll use this method over the reminder object, reminder.remove reminder, and inside this I will be passing the reminder that I want to remove. Let's say I have right now 3 reminders over here, and I want to remove the number 3rd reminder. Okay, I want to remove the number 3rd reminder. So I'll be removing the number 3rd. So I'll say, number 3rd. Okay, 3rd reminder I want to remove. I want to remove this one. So how can I remove the 3rd reminder? So I'll go to this remove reminder method, and the way the implementation that I'll be giving over here is going to be very simple. Okay, so I will be accepting, okay, the third reminder that you have inside the list, you're gonna be removing it. Okay, so I can just say reminder list, which is going to be my container, which is basically containing all my reminders, and from that I want to remove the number 3rd reminder. Okay, but if I'm going to be doing that, Control S, and if I'll go to app.java, if I'll do Control S, and right now I'll do sysout. Okay, and I'll just keep some stars here in order to separate. So this time, whenever I'm printing all my reminders, I have 3 reminders already added to my list. So all the reminders which are getting printed over here, and right now I am removing the number 3rd reminder that I have over here, and I'm marking it done. And in that case, if I want to do reminder dot print reminders again, if I want to print all my reminders, then I should only get this couple of reminders, and this reminder should go away. Okay, so let's see that if I can have this. If I'll do right click, run as Java application, now you can see that I am having a problem, and this is a index 3 out of bound, length 3 index out of bound exception. You can see the exception over here, and the reason that I have over here, I think you already guessed it, right? It's pretty simple. So the reason why we are having this exception is very simple. It's basically you want to remove the number 3rd reminder, this one. You are saying that. So you know that the list, which is our internal data structure for containing all the reminders, to store all the reminders, we are using list, and the list indexes starts from 0, and right now this reminder goes to our list 0th bucket, and this reminder goes to the list 1st bucket, and this reminder goes to the list 2nd bucket, because list index is starting from 0, right? So 0, 1, 2. 2 is the highest position that we have, or highest bucket we have where we have data. But right now what we are saying, can you please remove the reminder which is there in the number 3 position? So right now we have 3 reminders. It starts from 0, 1, 2. These are the 3 buckets where we have data, right? But in the number 3rd bucket is basically not containing the data. And when we say number 3rd, is basically pointing to the number 4th, 4th object. Right? So basically here we are just counting, okay, this is our 1st reminder, 2nd reminder, 3rd reminder. So I want to just remove the 3rd reminder. But technically for us as a developer, when the user say, okay, remove the 3rd reminder, then we actually need to remove the 2nd reminder. If we'll say, okay, remove the 1st reminder, then actually we will remove the 0th reminder. -1 we have to do, because list indexes starts from 0. We are storing everything from the 0, 1, 2. This is the 3 reminders that we have. So whenever right now he's saying me to remove 3rd, I will do one thing. I'll say remove, let's say reminder number. Okay, I have just written 3 here. Okay, okay, this is, okay, anyhow, I have just hard coded here, but anyhow, that particular exception will come. So I'll say reminder number. So previously, if it is 3, if somebody will give 3 here, okay, if somebody will give 3 here, right now, if somebody will give 3 here, now this is going to be 3, and I'm doing -3, which is going to be 2. Okay, now this is going to work fine. So if I'll go to app.java right now, and if I'm going to give number 3rd thing that I want to remove, like the do workout, I want to remove this thing from my reminder list. Let's see that if I can do it. Run as Java application, and there we go. You can see right now we don't have any exception, and the 3rd do workout is removed. Right now, if I want to remove the number 1st reminder, you can see the play cricket will be removed. Can I do right click, run as Java application, And you can see code for 3 hours, do workout for 2 hours. The play cricket has been removed from here. Okay, so the remove reminder is also working fine. So we have created a couple of methods here. Maybe let me just bring this method. I'll hit option and I'll just move it to next to the R reminders. So we have created 3 different methods over here. Perfect. So our reminder application is almost ready, right? So here is the recap of everything. So we have done our reminder application already. I think already a couple of features we have implemented, how to print all the reminders, how to add reminders to our application, how to remove reminders from our applications. So we have done with a lot of features. Right now, one of the most important feature which is pending for our application right now, this is going to be saving the reminders. Okay, you remember your client said to you already that, okay, Vilash, whatever the reminders you are creating, okay, he said to me, okay, Vilash, you are done with creating this application, but remember, I have also told you we should be able to save our reminders into a file system. Okay, so for example, here is a folder. You should be able to save your reminders like this. Okay, so how we will be able to save our reminders right now? So for now, I'll be creating a new folder here, and I'll call this folder as reminders, or let's say notes. I can say something like this. Let's say I want all the reminders that we are creating here. I want all these reminders that we have created here. I want these reminders to be stored. Okay, all these reminders that we are creating, all these reminders should be stored inside that application. So how we'll be able to do that? Okay, so basically we want to persist or store the reminders into a file system, into a file. Okay, so we want to save the things. The saving thing that I want to do, I can save the things to the DB. I want to save the things to the cloud. I want to save the things to my local file. I can save the things to anywhere, right? Right now, the requirement is it should be in the file. Okay, cool. So what I want to do right now, I will just go to my UML diagram that I was creating. I want to create another method or another operation right now, which is going to help me to save all the reminders into a file system. So obviously the method name is going to be save reminders. Okay, I want to save all the reminders, and I want to save the reminders to a file. So let's say a user is trying to save all the reminders, save all the reminders to his laptop. I want to ask him, okay, you want to store this reminder to your laptop or desktop? Can I know like which folder location or what is the file? Not the folder location. I just want to know, like, what is the file that you want to create, and what is the file name where you will be storing all these reminders. So I will be asking the user, tell me the file name. So file name is going to be a string, and I will just give a colon here, and I'll just say file name. Okay, and obviously this is going to be a void method, so I don't have to write void as the return type. So let's just create this save reminder method, which is going to be a public method. So in order to do that, I will just go to my Eclipse, and right over here I can go to the reminder class, and I can create another method here called public void save reminders right here. And now I can create the arguments. I will be needing the file name, and with respect to that file name that you'll be giving, like you'll be giving, okay, I want to, let me just remove all these things. After the print reminders, let's say I want to save the things. So I'll say reminder dot save reminders, and the file name is going to be, let's say Monday reminders. Cool. So this is what the user is going to give. So right now we'll be taking this file name, and we'll go to save reminder. We'll be accepting that file name. This is the file name that the user is going to give. So right now I just want to basically accept the file name from the user, and right now the file name that the user is entering is the Monday reminders. So with this name, I want to create a file inside my desktop, inside this folder called notes. I want to create a file called Monday reminders, and I want to log all the reminders that he has set into this particular file. So that's the using the save reminders method, he is going to asking me to save all his reminders that he has inserted into this file called Monday reminders. So I'll be accepting this right here in this method, which is inside my reminder class, and I'll be accepting this right now. This file name is going to be Monday reminders. Now I want to create a file inside my folder called Monday reminders with the name that the user is giving. With that name, I want to create a file. So if I want to do that, so the first thing that I want to do is I will be using print stream, okay, and a print stream, let's say a writer is equal to new print stream, and using this print stream method, I can create a file into my file system. So the file name is going to be whatever he is giving. Okay, this is going to be the way I can create a file inside that particular folder that I have created here called notes, right? But how can my application will know where this notes folder exists? Obviously, this note folder does exist inside this location. If I'll go to get info, it is inside my desktop. Can I copy this much? This is the path, right? Copy this, and this is where my file exists. So paste it. Okay, so inside my desktop is there. Now this is the complete path where I want to create a file. Whatever the name given, let's say the name has been given for this file name is going to be Monday reminders, and that is basically the file that I want to create inside my desktop folder. Inside the nodes, I want to create that particular file. Okay, now it is asking me to throw an exception to the declaration of the method. I want to do this, and this is going to throw the file not found exception, this constructor that I have to throw over here. Okay, now the thing is good, and once this is done, I want to write. So I can just do writer, not this variable. Okay, using this writer, I can just write right now. I can just do println, and I can print anything, right? I can print anything into this particular file, which will be there inside my notes folder. And what I want to print for now, let me just print here. Hey, I am able to print the data to the file. Okay, let's see that if I can do it. Let's go to the app.java. Let's do Control S. So why I'm having an exception here? I don't know. Complete class body. Oh, maybe I just removed one of this, and the save reminders is right now going to throw an exception because the file not found exception that we have throws, and we have to handle it inside this particular main method. Now if I'll do right click, run as Java application, now all my 3 reminders are here. Let's see that inside my notes folder, if I'll open this, boom, we have a file here called Monday reminders. And if I open this, I have, hey, I'm able to print this data into this file, this particular text we have inside this file. That means we are successfully able to print or log something, right? So inside the save reminders, whatever the things that I have hard coded, I'm able to print it. So that's a good thing, but this is not something what I want to log. I want to log all my reminders, right? So let's go to that particular folder right now. Let me delete this particular file. And now let me go back to my application, and let me go back to the save reminders method. And now let's start implementing how we can start writing the actual reminders right here. So right now, whenever the user will call the save reminders method, you know that all your reminders is getting stored inside this reminder list. So I can just iterate over this list and can start printing all these reminders using the writer.println. So I can just say reminder list dot for each, or I can just say let me just use a normal for loop, just not to confuse everyone. I can just use a for each loop, and this is the main object, and this is going to be my reminder object that I want to have out of this, and I want to iterate it. And every time that I want to iterate over this list, every object that I have inside this list, which is going to be reminder, I want to do writer.println. I want to write it to this particular file called file name. And once I am successfully done, I'll just close this writer, because this writer is going to take memory and I just don't want to, leave it open. And I'll just say writer.close to close the writer safely, so that I don't have any memory leak issue. Okay, so if I'll do Control S right now, and this save reminders method looks like it's going to save all my things to a file system, right? And this is going to store everything inside this notes folder. Let's see that if we are able to do it. Go to app.java, to right click, run as Java application, and I'm able to log everything because the print reminders is doing its work. Then the save reminders does its work properly or not. Either it's created a folder, either it's created a file called Monday reminders, and either it has logged everything, and either all my logic has been worked successfully. Let's check that out. If I'll go over here inside the notes, I have a folder called Monday reminders, and there you go. We have all our reminders implemented right now, right here. So all looking good. One last piece of improvement that we can do, as I said, print stream is a resource that we need to close. Every time we are opening a print writer to write something to a file, we have to close it. But from Java 7 onwards, we don't have to do that manually. We can just use something called try with resources. So make sure that you can have a try block like this, and inside the try block you can just have this thing like this, and right now you can just wrap this try block right here. That's it. That's everything that you got to do. Can I just I also need to open the try block, right? So I can open it right here. Okay, so I think I don't have to have this semicolon, and there you go. And can I reformat it? Control Shift F, and there you go. That's how my code looks like. See that? Right now what I did, this print stream writer object that I have created inside a try. And this is something what we called a try with resources in Java. So you don't have to close the writer manually, so that I have removed the writer.close. You can see that that particular sentence is gone, or that particular code writer.close is gone, because we don't have to manually close our writer. That's why I removed that, because the try with resources will make sure once the work of this particular block is done, this is basically going to close all the resources which is there inside this parenthesis. Right now inside this try parenthesis, we have a print stream writer, and once this block is completed, the writer will be automatically closed. Okay, that's not going to be the developer responsibility anymore to close the writer. Okay, so things are looking good. Our save reminders is also working fine. Let's test this out one more time. So let's go over there, close this. Let's just delete this particular file, or let's just create a new file right now. Let's go over there to the app.java, and let's say I'll just say Friday reminders, or let's say Friday. Okay, Friday, Control S, do right click, run as Java application, and now let's go to our application. Let's go to our notes folder, and let's see that we have a file called Friday or not, and of course we have it. And once we open it, we have all the reminders set over here. So things are almost good right now. And okay, cool. So we have successfully completed almost everything that the client want us to do. Okay, and before I give this application to my client, I remember my client also have told me that, okay, make sure that the user should not be able to enter something, or the user should not be able to save a reminder with a negative ID. Okay, he said that, okay, make sure whenever the user is creating a reminder that he should not be entering a negative ID like -1 or -2 or -3. Right now the user is a good user, he's giving all the valid ID. So maybe if he's giving something like -20, -25 as ID, that is not going to be considered as a right reminder. And also my client told me that, hey, you make sure whenever the user is creating a reminder, the reminder should not be null or empty. Okay, he also told me to make this thing implemented in my application. So the user need to go through some of the validation checks, and that's also my client wanted me to do before I hand over this application to my client. And that's the last thing that we're going to be implementing right now. So let's just go for it. Perfect. So I'm all excited. My application is almost done and I'm one step away. I just want to make sure I'm writing a perfect validation for my client. I'm so excited to give this application to my client because I'm sure that he'll be pretty much happy. I have wasted around an hour writing the code for my application. Well, let's see that. One last step. We'll be writing the validation stuff. And we'll make sure that before somebody enters a reminder to our application, the reminders that he's entering should be validated properly. And we will make sure that we are basically giving a perfect reminder to my application based on my client need. And then we are going to hand it over to our client. I'm sure he'll be liking it. So before that, okay, let's implement the last part. Here we'll be basically creating another operation in my reminder class, and this is going to be validate reminder. Okay, this is another operation that I want to create. Obviously, I want to validate what? A reminder. Okay, so obviously I'll take a reminder in arguments, and I'll make sure that what this validate reminder is going to return to me, whether the reminder is validated. If it is validated, then it will give me true. Let's say it is validation is successful. If the reminder is not validated, it is going to give me false. Okay, so this is going to return me a boolean. So I'll just keep a colon here and I'll write boolean. That's something it is going to return me. Okay, so let's just create this public function called validate reminder, which is going to accept a reminder object and going to get me a boolean value like true or false, which is going to be like the reminder validation successful or the reminder validation is not successful. So let's go to our Eclipse again. Let's go to our class, which is like the best class that I have written in my life. And I will make sure to create another method here. And this is called validate reminder. And this method is going to take a reminder object as a parameter. So reminder. And this method is going to return a boolean. Okay, I'll say boolean if the reminder is successfully validated, and it is going to return me true if the reminder is successfully validated. Okay, so it's going to be true if the reminder is validated successfully. Return true. Oh, okay. What happened? Array typo, yeah, typo. True. Perfect, right? So this is something that I want to do. So right now, what I want to do, I will make sure whenever somebody is going to enter a reminder, for an example, this reminder somebody is creating. Okay, this reminder is somebody is creating. He's adding this reminder to my application using the add reminder method. Okay, and in this add reminder, we are adding the reminder to the reminder list, which is the container for my application which stores all our reminders. So we'll make sure before we add the reminder to the reminder list, we'll make a perfect validation. So the add reminder method, before we add the reminders, we will do the validation right before it. So we have a method here called validate reminder. We'll call this method right here inside the add reminder. Okay, so validate reminder, and we will make sure to pass in this reminder, Control C, Control V. Okay, and this validate reminder method is going to give me Control 1 assign statement to a new local variable. Is going to return me is if it is valid or not. So I can say is valid because it is going to return me a boolean. And if it is valid, okay, if whenever we are adding a reminder, that reminder we are passing it through this function, and if this function is going to say true, validated, then we are okay. We'll go with this. Okay, we'll try to add the reminder to the list. If the function says no, is valid is not true. Okay, if the function says if this is valid, this that we are going to get as a return when this reminder is going to be passes through this particular function and it's giving us, if it is not true, then we're going to be throwing an exception. Let's say throw new runtime exception. Okay, and runtime exception, and we're going to be saying, okay, reminder entered is not valid. Please check again. Please check again. Okay, so, let's say that this is the validation exception that we're going to be giving to our user. Okay, so now the thing is that we have this exception triggered. Okay, if the validation is not successful, but how can we basically validate the thing? Because right now this is valid is going to come from the validate reminder. Let's say that the reminder that we are trying to enter will passes through this validate reminder function, but this function always returns true. This function always says, okay, the reminder is correct, the information is correct. So we have to make some condition checks over here. So we have to write some if clauses and we can make some condition checks. So the reminder that we are trying to add, we're going to be checking here if reminder.getID, get reminder ID. If you remember, the client said to me that check that the reminder ID should not be negatives, right? So I can say, and it should not be 0 as well. Okay, let's say we can check for that. Let's say the reminder.getID should not be less than or equal to 0, and if it is, then I'll return false. The next condition that I'll be adding, if the reminder.getName, reminder.getNote, okay, the actual reminder, okay, if the note is null or if it is empty string or blank, then I should also make sure that that is not a valid reminder. So I'll say reminder.getNote is blank. So is blank is a method which is going to check for the empty string. Let's say if you are just mentioning a string like this, and you are not giving anything inside it, right? You are not writing any text, then that is going to be a blank, is a blank string. Or if you are just going to pass null, or if you're not going to assign anything for your reminder note or the note variable that we have. If you remember, you have a getter method for this variable note, and if it is empty or blank, then also you need to make sure that the validation is not successful. So let me go to the validate reminder method, and I'll make sure if the get node is blank, okay, is blank by default, checks for null as well, then I will also make sure I will return false again. Okay, let's say this couple of validation that I have for validate reminder method. Okay, and if this couple of methods bypassed, then the reminder is a valid reminder and is successful. So right now things are good. Let me go to my app.java. Let me just do one thing. Let me create a new reminder, and let me just save all this reminder inside a file called my reminders, and let's see that if I'm able to do it. Right click, run as Java application, and I am able to print all these 3 reminders, and I'll be having the my reminder files inside my notes folder, okay, called my reminder. And if I'll go over here, all these 3 things are printed, looking good. Let's just test for the negative scenario if our validation is working or not working. Imagine I'm just giving this reminder ID as -20, okay, -10. Let's see if it is working, and let me just change the file name. I'll say my reminder new. This is going to be my file name where I'll be saving all my reminders. Do run as Java application, and boom, right now we have the validation check triggered here, and reminder enter is not valid, please check again. And obviously I can also make sure here, whenever I'm giving that error message, where I'm giving it inside the add reminder method, whenever I'm giving that runtime exception, I can also paste that reminder that somebody is entering, okay, so that he can see that what's wrong inside it. So I can go to app.java, run a Java application, and there you go. Reminder enter is not valid. Please check the reminder again, and you can see the reminder ID which is entered as -10, which is not valid. So our validation is working like a charm. And what if the reminder ID is 0? Are we getting an exception? So do run the Java application, and yes, for 0 also the exception is triggering. And what about if I'll make it 10 right now? Control S, right click, run as Java application. Things should work fine. No exception right now because 10 is a valid ID, and the ID, the logic that we have written over there, if you remember, it should not be 0 or less than that. Okay, so this validation is working fine. So what about this scenario? Let's test this out. So let's go to our app.java. What about I am going to give a empty string over here? So this is not a valid piece of reminder. And let's say if I'm trying to save it, Java application, I'm getting an exception, and because empty string, I'm not giving any data inside it, and it is saying the reminder entered is not valid, and somebody can check the reminder. Again, you can see that note is right now not given properly. So that's working fine. And what about if I'll just pass null here, and I will not give any string over here. I think for this also we should have an exception trigger, and there you go. You can see convert to invoke string dot is blank, because the return value of this is null. So you are getting a null pointer exception for is blank method, because the is blank method that we have used that internally makes a null check, and that null check is failing because the string is right now null. So null dot something will be null pointer exception. So we need to make sure we need to give an a valid string like do write something here. Okay, this is going to be a valid setup string, and let's say my reminder new final. The next one will be final, next one will be final, and you can keep on creating files like that. How many of you do this kind of thing? Let me know in the comments so that I can think, okay, you are like me. Okay, do right click, run as Java application. This should work fine. Well, I have all 3 reminders over here printed, and also I'm saving it. Let's check that out. Let's go over there and reminder new final. Let's open that, and here is our new reminders. Looks like we have a valid entry over here. The ID is valid, and also we have something here in the notes. So note can be anything, because reminders can be anything. I can write anything in the reminder, right? So things are looking good. I'm so excited right now. My application is completely and is functioning really good. And let's look at the reminder class. Control A, Control Shift F. Okay, how many lines of code that we have written? It's 102 lines of code. Well, this is our reminder class, fully functional, and it is working as it's working like a charm. And I am so happy. Right now, let's deliver this application. Let's go for a code review, and let's just give this application to our client. And you know what, guys? When I gave this application to my client and I set for a code review with him, that guy is technical. He showed my code, and he just given me a suggestion. Just leave coding and do something else. I just asked why. Your application is working good. Why you are being so harsh? And he just said, Avilash, your code is working. You are done with the application, but you have not followed the industry standard. This application is garbage. And if I will have this application, I will be losing so much of money because every time I want to do something, every time I want to implement something, I need to get a new developer, and maybe I need to run to you because you are the person who have written the code. I cannot get a different developer because maybe there are so many lines of code, he'll get confused. Is the first thing. Your code does not meet the industry standard. That's the second thing. Your code is garbage. That's the third thing. You have not followed any kind of design principle. Basically, you haven't followed the solid principle. I think you have to go and start learning what solid is and how to write code properly. You are just writing code to make the things done. You are not following the best practices. Then I'm so surprised right now. What wrong I have done here? what I can do right now to make this application as per the industry standard. And for that, I went to internet and I started exploring, and I got to know about a concept called single responsibility principle. You know what? This class that we have written, this is a God. This is God. God, you know what? Bhagwan, okay? Almighty. So this class reminder is a God class. It's a God object because it knows everything. It knows how to store data. It knows how to save data. It knows how to validate data. It knows how to do different operations like add reminders, remove reminders, all these things. It knows how to print the reminders. It knows everything. So this is just God, okay? And that's something we have to avoid. And that's somewhere we have to learn a concept called single responsibility principle. And that's something that we'll be learning in the next class. So we'll try to break these things and try to follow the proper industry standard, proper coding principle, proper solid principle, proper principle called single responsibility principle. And we will be implementing that principle in this application, and we'll try to see how we can make it better. And then we'll try to talk to our client again, and let's see if we can approve our code. And to watch that thing, I want you guys to stay connected, stay tuned, and watch the next video of this series. Till then, take care, bye-bye, happy coding, and do this as a hands-on, right? Keep writing code. It's 12 o'clock, 12:30 in fact. I have to go. Bye-bye and happy coding. See you.